Welcome to the treasure room.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Prepare for vault door opening.
Welcome everybody, it is a Friday afternoon. Welcome to the home of the gaming and graphic design tycoon. Welcome to the stream everybody. We're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to download a bit of the 30 years of graphic design knowledge to all of you. For those who don't know, I've been a graphic designer for 30 years. I've been very lucky to work for some of the top companies in the world. I've done every different type of design that you could possibly do. Graphic design is a huge wide net that you can throw over and just specialize in certain things, or you can be crazy like me and try to do it all, try to get 100% achievement in real life like I've done. I've made t-shirts, I've made billboards, I've done record labels, I've done little nail bottle stuff in the store. I've done everything that you could possibly think of, logos and letterhead and stuff. Stuff that goes on the side of bottles, things like that, like little logos like that, right? Dull gloss varnish. I've done die cuts. I've done Pantones. I've done everything under the sun and absolutely lived for it, everybody. It was one of my favorite things in my life. I fell in love with it at the age, right around age 8 or 9. And I saw my very first printing press, and that was it, everybody. I was hooked. All the things that you see scrolling by here, a graphic designer had a hand in designing these covers and coming up with this. Of course, you got the artist who's making the graphics, and then you have the graphic designer, which is putting in the layout. Like, see how this text is at the top on that one? This one's at an angle on that one. All of that stuff has to be done with somebody like me, or somebody maybe like you, that puts all of that together. And basically, it's combining symbols, right? We're combining things together. Like, great example, Outer Worlds, great shot right there. And then, of course, coming up with that font size, or maybe even creating the font from scratch, right? Going in Illustrator and actually hand drawing the actual font itself, which you can do. By the way, that way back in the day when Illustrator first came out, that's what they used to use it for actually converting traditional style fonts and making them into actual fonts in your computer. So you can thank Illustrator for that, and thank people like me who went in and made my own fonts and all sorts of cool stuff. One of my favorite ones I did really long time ago is from Ultima 4, where I went in and made runes, rune font, where you could go in and actually type in the Ultima runes, and it would you could just type in a normal text, and then you just do the font, and it converts it into actual runes. So very, very cool way back in the day. Very geeky, but very fun at the same time. It also involves gaming and graphic design at the same time. So again, someone who's done this now, so you should be looking at it different now. You should be looking at what the colors are, how big the text is versus this, right? What are they trying to show? What are they trying to show in each and every one of these? Look at the difference in the fonts. You got a thick font when you're doing like Call of Duty. You got a thinner font when you're doing Shakiro there, and so on. Oh, I love this little game. That's a mobile game, the Assassin's Rebellion. Great little mobile game, everybody, if you like mobile games, for sure. I like these. These are like, I can jump in, play it a little bit, and then, go back to what I'm doing. Just kind of a relaxation thing. I never get like upset or whatnot. I mean, if it's bugged, then maybe a little bit, but I don't really, even if I lose or I die or I lose everything, I don't necessarily get upset with games. It's actually relaxing to me, even no matter what's going on in the game most of the time. The only thing that bugs me is when people aren't working together. that bugs me. Or people are being disrespectful. That's the worst, everybody. When people do disrespectful, for sure. But let's get you guys in. Put a 1 in the chat if you can't see and hear me. You can see I've got some stuff up over here that we're going to talk about. We're going to get into a bit more advanced graphic design. Now, if you've ever wanted to figure out how to use GIF files or animate GIF files, I'm going to talk about those. I'm also going to talk about some new formats, WebP and WebM, if you haven't used those. Now, by new, I mean from 2010, because whenever you're using a new format, everyone, it takes a while for that format to saturate, all right? Now, before we get started, though, there is one thing that we need to get out of the way. It is GIF, not GIF. I don't care who you are. I was there when it was invented. So I am the authority, and I have used it probably more than anybody else in the world. I'm pretty high up there, everybody. It is graphical interchange format. Let's just set the precedent for the whole rest of this day, all right? We're going to go for a few hours, and we're going to basically reveal some of my secrets and tell you a bit about how to make something smaller and faster. And why would you want something to be smaller and faster? Well, it's easier to use. If it looks the same, who cares? It's less room on your hard drive and less processing power it needs to do, as well as if you're doing websites like mine right here, sometimes it's better just to combine it all into one image than to have the individual items. And then, of course, if you compress it down, of course, it's going to load faster for the person on the other end, because you never know how fast their internet is on their side, right? So you want to load as fast as it can so people can get the information they need and then get out of there. Now, of course, at the beginning of the internet, which I was also there as well, I actually read about the internet before anybody knew what the internet was. In the early 90s, by the way. I think it was 92, 90. Right in there, I found a little book, and it said, The Guide to the Internet. It was about 70 pages or whatnot, and I opened it up, and it started talking to me about the ARPANET and, all the different universities that were connected to each other. Now, it's been around earlier than that, but really didn't come into prominence until the 90s and then into the 2000s. And no one knew about it. So you know what I did? I went and registered a bunch of domains. I could have registered Apple.com. I could have registered Microsoft.com. I'm talking I was that far ahead, everybody. But I'm not a scumbag. I don't steal other people's property, especially their intellectual property. That's just a scumbag thing to do. I would not do that. So, I mean, some people, they made an absolute fortune. They took the names of other people and then they had to sell it back to them or whatnot, like real estate. I'm just not that guy, everybody. I wouldn't trade my morality or my ethics because it just goes down a dark road when you do that. I answer to no one. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do, and money is something that only lasts you until you die. And then when you're dead, it doesn't matter how much money you got, you're dead. You can't use any of it. So there you go. Graphical interchange format. You got it. Yes, I said it. And if I trigger the chat, there you go. Yeah, I don't sell out. I don't cheat, steal, lie. Not because I can't. Anybody can. Everybody has the darkness and the lightness in them. I just choose not to. And that is the hardest choice you'll make in life, is choose not to be a terrible human being. Take the easy road. It's not easy, everybody. It's not easy because you see everybody else, oh, God, they got all this thing. They cheated, steal, lied their way up to the top. But I feel like you're lying your way to the bottom of the human race because you're the worst version of yourself, right? I try to level up in real life. I try to be a better me every day, right? And I try to learn a whole bunch of things in graphic design that help me every day. And I've been doing it all this time, everybody. This is like 40 plus years. I try to learn something new every single day. And I can sit here and download all of that to you guys, but I don't know if you've got the next 10 years. So we're gonna shrink it down into small little bite-sized bits here, so you guys can get a general overview of how to get started with animated items. And then I'm going to show you how to use the new style, and what a big, huge improvement it has been over the old style of formats, right? It really comes down to formats, what formats you're saving, how to save those formats, how to optimize them, and how to bring them up, right? So if you're going to do it for graphic design, or if you're going to do it like on the stream, like see this right here, this is a graphic design thing. This is actually a facade. There's two things going on here, everybody. Behind me, there is this, which I made in Blender, and is a 3D animation going. Now in front of me, and you can see it if I move my hand to the side, I have an overlapping image over the front. So now you know the secret. Now, but if you notice that it's still animated, right? So it's an animated object that's in the front. And we're going to talk about a bunch of that stuff as well. So I'm teaching you some of my secrets already. And it's very easy to do, and it creates the illusion of me sitting in my overseer's desk. Though I am kind of oversized for my overseer desk, but it's all part of the fun, everybody. All part of the fun for sure. Now, if you never played Fallout, everybody, then I'm in a spaceship. Whatever floats your boat. So we're going to get into it, everybody. Big time. Thanks for all those ones in the chat. Let's talk to everybody in the chat. Who do we got in here? We got Rotisserie G hanging out in here. What up, Rotisserie G? We got Thurbrick. We got Foggy. What up? Mega, thank you very much for that one. Lance, thank you very much for the one. Yes, I said it. You know it. Yes, I'm no sellout. That's for sure. Mutated Giant Overseer. Exactly. Don't mess with the big Overseer. What up, Wiz? Thank you very much for the one. Let's go ahead and share you guys with 1,000 Qs caps to get you started for the day. Now, again, I'm streaming live to 5 different platforms at the same time. Streaming on Twitch, streaming on YouTube, over on Kick, as well as Facebook, and a new area called Live Space. Don't forget to follow me on all of those, everybody. I'm going to throw those in the chat for you on Twitch. Go ahead and click that. Pop on over there, follow me over there as well, because the more you guys do that, the more giveaways and other cool stuff I get to do here, right? Like doing graphic design and showing you some of my tricks. Let's go. Let's do it. All right, you aspiring graphic designers, I'm going to tell you a whole bunch of things. Now, hold on. Let me take away my tell me nothing. Boop. There we go. Now, up here at the top, you can see I've got some stuff going on up there. That has to do with graphic design. You can see this is my schedule over here as well. Now, here's my schedule currently on my website, which I redid in a new style, for me anyway, called WordPress, right? So instead of doing it in HTML, the old school style way of doing it through a program called Muse, which Adobe had for many years, I went in and I actually did it what's known as blocks. So each one of those things is a different block, and you put items in there. Now this right here is a photo, right? So this is just one big photo that has that in, and this is actually a JPEG. Right? So JPEG basically compresses it down. Now, there used to be cards that we used to buy way back in the day that just did that. And the reason why it was so important is because it reduced the space of large images. So if you're going to do a poster, it's 500 gigs. And you're thinking, well, 500 gigs is nothing, kids. I do 500 gigs all the time. Well, imagine if your hard drive was only 100 gigs. Yeah, that's the way it was back in the day, everybody. I'm not talking about terabytes. I'm not talking about... I'm talking 100 gigs is a lot, everybody. That was a lot back in the day. Some of those hard drives way back in the day were 100 megabytes. Yeah, if you guys even know what those are anymore. Those are the smaller version of gigabytes. So you might have a 500 meg image and you got a 100 meg hard drive. Obviously, it's not going to fit. It's 5 times the size. So you use JPEG to compress it down. Now you don't need a special card. It does it so fast. You don't need to worry about it. Now, I'm on a super fast machine as well. I'm on my new machine. So keep in mind, everything that I'm doing might go a little slower on your machine. And that does happen. But there you go. Yeah, 40 megabyte monster when you started. Yes, I remember switching the side quests back in the day. Remember then the floppy switch? I used to do this, everybody. This is what we call the floppy switch. So what you do is you'd have a floppy right here, and you'd have a floppy here, and you'd have a floppy here, and it'd be like, you'd be flipping the floppies. That's old school right there. If you even know what a floppy is, I'm impressed. Now, again, this is the one that's up on my website right now. Now, where did this come from? Well, bam, here it is right here. In Illustrator, you can see I can just grab stuff and move it around. So I actually designed this in Illustrator. And I change this up every now and again. Sometimes I'll make it vertical. Sometimes I'll make it horizontal. I like to rotate what it looks like, right? But none of this is animated. You can't really put GIF files or animated files in Illustrator because Illustrator is more of a still or illustration program. Now, I could also do this in another program called InDesign, which is a page layout program. You could do it in there as well, or you could do it in a web builder, whatever you want to do. Me, I love Illustrator. Illustrator is the basis of every other program that you know today. It innovated all of those things, like the Bezier Curve tool and a whole bunch of other tools that we have talked about previously. By the way, in my previous graphic design streams, you can find those up on YouTube, by the way. Just look for Kismet, graphic design. You'll find them over there at Kismet, Twitch, or youtube.com/KismetBP. I'll put all that in the chat for you guys, too, so you can go back and find those. The second I find out where the button is. There it is, right there. So feel free to go over there and hit that subscribe button over on YouTube, or if you're already watching from YouTube, even easier. So feel free to check those out over there, everybody, where I talk a bit more about traditional design and how you can work with shapes and sizes and fonts and all of that stuff that we've already covered before. But just kind of a little quick overview. This is basically the page layout program that I use because I like Illustrator more. One of the great features of Illustrator that I like the most is the hide feature. I wish every program had it, where you can go ahead and highlight, say just this thing right here at the top, the Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on it. I can just go in and go Control-3 because I'm on PC, or Command-3 on Mac, and bam, it just hid that thing. Now, why would I want to hide that? Well, a great example is if I'm just trying to get to the logo, right, and I keep clicking it and something's over the top of it or something's blocking it and I'm trying to get to it and it's in the way. Great example right over here. If I'm trying to get to this bar, there's something behind here and it keeps highlighting this instead of the thing behind it. Control-3, get to the thing behind it, do whatever you need to do. Control-Alt-3, and then it's back again. A fantastic feature. Now, of course, you can also use your layers. And you can see I've got a bunch of layers over here on the side that I can turn on and off, like the backgrounds, the headers here I can turn off. And so I've also got the power to do that by layer as well. But I can go individual things. Oh, look at that, Medieval Dynasty. We're going to play some of that on Sunday. But there we go. And of course, some streams that I do are called bonus streams. So you can see I added a bonus stream, which is the one you're watching right now. So that is Illustrator. Now, Illustrator is not really made to be a motion program, right? And we already talked about the basics of design. So we're going to go a little bit more advanced where we talk about animated design, right? More of like this kind of stuff. Like this guy. You guys know this guy, all you Fallout fans. You've seen this guy. Now, what's going on right now? Well, what's going on, if you've ever been like me as a kid and was absolutely obsessed with flip books, if you don't know what a flip book is, that's where you draw on it and then you flip the page and then you draw again, you flip it again and whatnot. I used to do it in the corners of all of my notebooks where I'd hold it up and go, brr, who's ever done a flip book? Put a 1 in the chat. Let me see how many people in the chat have ever done a flip book. Go ahead and get it wrong. Is that the correct retweet link? Yes, it should be. It should be. It should come up with graphic design. Did I not save it? Let's see. Let me put that retweet link in there. Oh, yes. Okay. So we got some peeps in the chat who got it. Yes. It should be the right one. So let me go ahead and... maybe not. Let me just go ahead and put RT in there and see if that one comes up. There you go. Try that one there, Wiz. So this is basically what this is. This is what GIF animations or any kind of animation or even your television that you're watching is basically a giant flip book. I just blew your mind, didn't I? Unless you already knew that, which I'm sure some of you did. That's all that it is. It's just putting an image out and then it puts another one and then another one. And then it goes so fast that eventually you can't even see it. You don't even know what's happening. But I know, and so do all the people who do animations and do videos and things of that nature. There's a certain speed at which it's flipping those images and showing them to you. And that's what causes that motion. Now, you need at least 15 frames per second to show the basics of animation. It's still going to feel a little choppy at 15, but as you move up, it's going to feel a little bit more fluid until it gets to a point where nobody can even tell. Usually around 29 to 30 frames per second. It's actually 29.97 in the old film, and then now 30 when you're on a computer. Of course, you can always go up to 60 frames, 120 frames, and beyond if you're playing games or things like that are really have a lot of motion in the shot. That's one of the problems is you'll start to see this kind of stuff. You'll start to see this kind of stuff because the frames are interlaced when it comes to two inside. So this line is one thing, and this line is another photo. So two photos that are kind of like mixed together. That's called interlacing. That's old school. That's the way that we used to do it. But we don't do that anymore. Now it's called progressive. And progressive means that it shows you an image, and then it shows you an image, and so on, without getting too detailed or technical, everybody. I'm not going to try to get too technical on here, all right? We go down a rabbit hole. We go down the deep rabbit hole of the thousands of hours that I've spent trying to figure all that stuff out. But you know what? You're not going to have to, because I'm going to show you right now. So behind me here, you can see that I'm in Photoshop. This is called frame animation. There's multiple different types of animation. I'm not going to cover them all. I'm just going to show you frame animation today. So any GIF that you grab, if you have Photoshop or if you have GIMP or if you have other programs that allow you to see those frames, you can modify the frames. And if you look over here on the right, you can see that they're just a bunch of still photos. That's right. So I can turn this one off and turn that one back on, and I can control the rate at which they go. I can even control the delay down at the bottom. Let me go ahead and set myself. See how cool I am. Right here, we can offset the actual time between frames, so we can tell it. We can control time. That's what you're doing when you're working on animations. Basically, you're controlling the time at which the frame comes up, which the next one comes up, and it shows you the illusion of life. Great book, by the way, by the Disney animators who actually came out with Snow White and all those other amazing ones. It's called The Illusion of Life. Highly recommend that one if you want to learn about animation. So right here you can see every little by little, that little thing of gold is going down. And that's because it's happening all by going one frame at another. So just like when you do a flip book, what you would do is you would draw one thing, and then you would flip it, and then you would draw another one, and then you flip it, and then you come back at the end, and you would go like this, and you would flip each thing faster, and then it would create the emotion of your horse running, or your guy dancing, or whatever it is that you want to do, or your guy in there grabbing the thing, right? Grabbing the gold in this case. Now, also, I have another one. Now, remember, these I have not created. These are from the internet that I've grabbed to show you guys. Another fun one I like is called the Klaxon Light. Very Fallout-esque, I feel. And, of course, we play that. We can see that it is rotating around. But just as you can see over here on the right side, right, you can see all of the individual frames in which they have gone in and drawn. And that's basically what creates that illusion. Unlike when you're using a 3D program like Blender or Maya or something like that, that is actually creating the object, and then you're moving the camera or moving the object around. Here, these are actual individual drawn frames. So it's a big difference in one thing. But you can take Blender, make the 3D animation, and convert it into a GIF animation, and thus you can put it on your website or put it on your stream or whatever you want to do with it. Share it with your friends, whatever you want to do. So the GIF animations are probably the most known of all the animations that you'll see on the internet. Now, there's a bunch of other formats that we can get and go down that rabbit hole too, but I'm just going to show you the basics of GIF here. Now, of course, this one you might have seen on my stream from time to time. Pew, 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 pew. Now, the difference between this one right here, you can see this one has a lot of frames, right? So this one has 50 frames, right, that it's taking for that to spin all the way around. The more frames, the more photos that you have embedded in that one GIF file, right? So if you have 50 photos, right, in a GIF file, or if you have 4 in a GIF file, let me move myself way over here. Whee! You can see that one only has 4 files. Now, how is that possible? Because what it's doing is it's turning it on and off and on and off. So all it really does is does pew, 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 and then goes back to the first frame. That's what I would consider to be an optimized GIF animation. You've taken out all the frames that you don't need. It only needs 4 frames. It shows you the same things if you had 1,000 frames in there or 50 frames or whatever, and it creates that illusion of it going pew, 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 right? So very, very easy to understand. The more frames, the bigger the file. The less frames, the smaller the file. The faster it loads, the faster it can run. And you can control the speed by just telling it to delay. So delay for this many seconds or this many seconds. If you notice up here at the top, you can see my eco up there and my YouTube thing up there. That stuff is actually a slideshow. So it's one image that it's showing, and then it's waiting for so long, and then it shows the next image, right? So this one in the middle waits about 3 minutes, and then it switches to my other sponsor. That's my sponsor there, Eco. And then in the upper right corner, that one waits about 15 minutes, and then it will show you another image on top of that one. So great way of doing that, and that's basically what you're doing here. You're just telling it to go, okay, I'll have this image on the screen for this long, and then this image, and then this image, and then it loops back and forth. And you can tell it to loop or not to loop. It's really up to you. You can do it in Photoshop or in other programs that have the same thing. Now, there are some programs that are purely for animation. And I like this one right here, very famous one from Fallout 4. Now, I went in and actually made this one, by the way. I took the original video and made this one, and I use it on the stream from time to time. Some other people have done the same thing and whatnot. We're going to get into some stuff that I do that you might have seen on the stream as well, where I use trailers from different sponsors or different games that we play, and I integrate them into my own special GIF that I put on my Twitter page from time to time. And I find them incredibly great because it gives you a little snippet of what the game is about, which is pretty cool. Now, another one that you might notice is this one right here, which is one of my animated emotes. And you can see, again, right here, everybody, you can see all the frames. Basically, they're all drawn in order. You can see all of the layers over here on the side. Now, one of the things when I had this done, now, of course, I could have done it myself, but I do like to support other artists as well who do emotes all day long. And, you know, it doesn't cost that much, 25 bucks or whatever it is. And so to show some support for other peeps. So I had this one drawn, but there's a different level of knowledge about how to optimize things. And I just happen to know and be pretty advanced at it. Now watch what happens here in this animation. Oh, nothing, right? Okay, now something's going on. Now nothing's going on. But look at the frames are still going. Something going on. Nothing going on. That's because it's showing the same frame over and over and over. And I noticed that when I opened up the original, when they sent it to me, and I went, that's a whole bunch of wasted time. If they're trying to put a pause in there, you don't need all those extra frames. All you need to do is to go to the frame in which it stops, like in this case, and I can just step through the different frames down here by clicking them, right? And then say it gets to right there, which is right where it is, frame 26. I can just say pause for a second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, how many ever seconds I want it to do. I can even type in how many seconds I want it to be over here as well, set frame delay, instead of doing the extra frames. If you do the extra frames, it makes the file bigger, it makes it take longer to load, and so on. You get the idea. So if you're going to optimize it, you best just be able to have control over the time of when it's pausing. So if I were to take that out, instead of this being, wrong scroll bar, instead of this being 76 frames, which it is, I could take it out and stop it at frame 26. So I could cut it in a third, right? And why is that important? Well, that's important because of size and speed, right? How fast it loads, how fast you can utilize it, and how much resources it needs to load that item. Very important in web design, very important when you're doing OBS and things like that, because I do things that are beyond anybody's doing, everybody. I do stuff that's nuts, man. That's why I have 7 monitors running at the same time. I'm doing stuff that would bring any computer to its knees. Like right now, streaming to 5 platforms at the same time. Oh, absolutely. And then full screen alerts, animated emotes, just above and beyond. But that's a great way of optimizing that, and that's why I wanted to show you this one. So I got it. I took out all the rest of the frames. I just put it at 26, and that's the one you see in the stream. So that's how I solved that problem, optimizing as well. Now here's another one that you might have seen on my Twitter page, and I call these Twitter GIFs. And again, this is for a fantastic game called Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew. Really fantastic game. Everybody highly recommend it. You can see you've got me over here shaking my caps. These are learn to plays that I do, twitch.tv/Kismet, and of course now all 5 platforms. But if you see what happens here, basically I have a little bit of the gameplay showing up. Okay, so we got people running over the bridge. We got this skull. We got this little opening thing. And then we got this thing hitting that guy hitting the ground, right? Now, what I do is I take the trailer for the game and I cut it up into little video segments. Then I take that into a program called After Effects and I combine it with some other graphics and I output it as a GIF file. Simple as that, right? Seems easy. Of course, nobody taught me that, everybody. I figured that out on my own. So you don't need to figure that out. Because guess what? I'm going to actually show you the file right now. That's right. I've got the file in After Effects right here. And I can show you. Now, you can look at the quality in here versus the quality of the GIF. Right now, GIF is going to drop your quality really far down, everybody. It's really going to drop. But it's one of the few formats that you can do animated things in that is accepted in all browsers, right? Now, when you're trying to create a format, those formats take a long time for people to accept those formats, right? And there's some new formats, which we'll talk about as well, that you definitely want to look into. And of course, there'll be more in the future as well. Always keep up to date on the latest formats. But there's a new formats that replace GIF and replace GIF and replace all of these other ones that that you might be using now. So, great example is I will go in, and these are all different parts. And in After Effects here, you have different layers, and then you're animating those various layers. So this right here is the title, right? That's just the logo. And where did I get the logo from? The press kit. Remember how we talked about press kits previously? If you didn't see it in previous videos, go hunt it down on YouTube. It'll be over there. We talk about press kits and how to get press kits and how to use their coloring and use their graphics. And whatnot. Make sure you have permission. Very important. Don't claim that it's your graphics, everybody. This obviously is from them. And so it's just the logo up at the top. And of course, I have a black background on top of that. On top of this one here, you can see I've got this right here. Now, this is actually another After Effects thing that's embedded in here. It's called compositing. So you can actually make another video that's just this part here that does that animation, right? That does that shake animation. Now, where's that shake animation from? It's from Fallout 76. So what I did is I recorded myself shaking it in Fallout 76, and then I took that little part of that video and put it right there. And then, of course, my graphics, my logo that I made there, and, of course, my Twitch address at the top. Now, the other part here is what I call a 3-second clip, right? So this whole entire thing is in 3 seconds. And that's because that's about the right amount of time for someone's attention span, as well as the right amount of time to just give you a little gist of the game, right? A little gist of the game. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Boom, see? And it just loops. And it just does that forever. And it gives you something interesting to look at and whatnot. And I love doing these. They are time consuming though, because you have to go in and cut up the trailer. You have to go in and then process out that. And then you bring in that process part, which just has the clips that you want. And then you put that together in After Effects. Now, the part that you really want to know about, other than the design part of doing this, is going in and being able to output what you want, right? And that's the toughest part. And that's the part I'm going to tell you the secret of, right? How to make this into a GIF. Now, there's another program that goes along with After Effects, or you might have other programs like VLC or whatnot. If you don't know what that is, feel free to Google it. It's like a converter program. You might have something like Compressor if you have Final Cut Pro. In my case, I've actually had Final Cut Pro since it launched. I've used it for so many years. But I actually switched to another program called DaVinci Resolve, which we'll take a look at. It's right down here. We'll talk about that. It's a free program, everybody. Remember, Blender's free, GIMP's free, DaVinci Resolve is free. All of those stuff is free. So you got it good, everybody. You don't have to spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars like I did buying all these programs. But I still pay for my Adobe programs because I use them almost every single day. Only time I'm not using them is usually when I'm streaming or sleeping. So if you can see over here on the side here, everybody, it might be a little small for you guys to see. I have a bunch of presets. I have some GIF presets and I have some WebM presets, which we'll talk about those here in a minute. But GIF presets here, some of them are of a certain size, right? So match the original size, shrink it down to a certain size. Like the size that I use for those GIFs that you see is 480. So what I will do is I will go into After Effects. I will say, hey, add this particular composition into Media Encoder, like this. Boom. And then there it is showing up right there at the top. And then I can tell it what to be. Right now it's on WebM, but I could tell it to be a GIF file at 480 with no audio. Because I've gone into the settings right? This is where you're really advanced here. You go into the settings, and instead of match source, I have it saying I want it to be 480 by 270, which is percentagely down as a 16 by 9 size. So you want to figure out your percentages of sizes, right? So if you have your, 1080, then you have your 720, and so on and so forth. It used to be square back in the day, everybody, those old square TVs and square monitors. Now we have wider monitors. We have the 16 by 9s that most people use now. So that's why I use a 16 by 9 setup. So these are all the settings in here, and I can just show you guys a little bit. Progressive, frame rate is 25 because it's going to be a lot less in GIF files. And again, I can take it all the way down to 15 if I wanted to, and it would still give you an illusion of movement. Below 15, it just looks like it's jumpy. It looks like it's sitting. And really below 30, below 20, it's even worse, but or about the same. So I try to be between 25 and 30. And when it comes to a GIF animation, because it's so low quality, you don't need to have a massive amount of frames. Now, this is one of the largest GIFs you'll ever want to make, everybody, and that's why I brought it up. These GIFs, you should not have massive size GIFs. Massive size GIFs are not really well compressed, not as well as the newer stuff that you could use now, right? So say you're going to put this on your stream, right? Well, it's actually a smarter idea to use WebM than it is to use a GIF file. And I'll show you why. But I'm showing you GIF to give you a general idea of what GIF files are for, how you can use them, how you can use them in different style format, whether you're doing them in Photoshop or whether you're doing them in more advanced programs like After Effects or other programs like Premiere, whatever you want to use. Or like in DaVinci Resolve, good example. So there we go. So we'll put that in there. We'll give it the proper settings. In this case, it's going to be 480 wide. It's not going to have any audio. It's going to be animated GIF in there as well. I could try to go in and do alpha channels in there as well, which is very tricky. Alpha channels are basically the ability for it to drop out the background. Something you might use is like PNG for a still image, right? You'll go and make an object like a logo, and then you'll save it as a PNG so the whole background is transparent. So when you're putting it on there, like great example, is this one right here, right there. Bam. See how it's transparent? If I move it around, it's transparent across whatever it is, right? So that's a great use of a PNG right there. So it has that transparent background. So there you go. So then after I process this out, it will go ahead and come out of there. What did I do with it? It will then come out of there as a GIF file. I need my files here. Hold on. I need my files here. Let me find my file. I don't want to get in trouble with any of my sponsors. I don't want to accidentally show you guys some stuff I'm still working on. I don't want to get in trouble. Don't want to get in trouble. All right, here we go. Right here. So you can see there's a GIF file right here where I had processed it previously, everybody. And if I double click on it, you'll see that that's the one that we have open in Photoshop, right? And that's the one that we're looking at in there. And you can see that the quality is much less, but it gives you the motion and it gives you the general thing. And that's a very high-end version of doing a GIF file, everybody. Most people, they'll go into Photoshop and they'll draw something. And that's a great way to test it out, everybody. Just go into Photoshop, create like 5 layers, and then make sure you're in frame animation down here. This is your animation window. You can go up here to timeline, it's called in here, timeline, right here in Photoshop. Or in other programs, you can look for animation window or timeline window or something of that nature, and then basically go in and just draw something. Draw something in there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say new over here, and I'm just going to do something a little fun here. Let's see. Let's try one about this size. There we go. So what I'm going to do on the first layer is I'm just going to draw something. So I'm just going to draw a little circle, right? Then I'm going to go to the next layer. And I'm going to draw the same thing, but this time I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then the next layer, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, like this, and then like this. And you're like, well, Kismet, why'd you draw that second one and not just copy it up? I totally could. I totally could just take this one and make a copy of it, like this, and then I'll take this one back out. And then just draw on that copy to make a progression of that thing. I don't know why I must have hit my opacity of my thing went down. I hit my 10 key by mistake. There we go. And there we go. And then again, we could just duplicate it. And then maybe a little bit of this. And duplicate that. And then, that wasn't duplicated. And then duplicate the next one. Like this. And then duplicate the next one. Got an extra one there. Let's say like that. All right, so I made a little happy face. Look at me go. Now, you see how thick the thing is? And that's because you have a bunch of these layers behind. So this is what we got. This, we got this, right? That's the next layer. Next layer. Next layer. Next layer. This is how flipbooks work, everybody. You just draw stuff in a secret. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? If you've never seen that before, I hope that was a revelation for you, everybody. That's how easy that is. That's how easy it is. You just draw in sequence. Now, down here in my frame animation, down here at the bottom, I'm going to create a timeline right here. So I'm going to create a video timeline, which is not what I want. This is the newer style video timeline. It's a bit more advanced. We're going to go ahead and say, you know what? Convert to frame animation. All right. So I click this little thing in the corner, that little pop-up. Go up here, convert frames into frame animation. There we go. Now we have our frames to frame animation. Now I'm going to move myself way over here, so you guys can see what I'm doing over there. And you're welcome, by the way, for all this hard work of me being able to move around my camera. So there we go. So we got the first frame. We can see up here we got the first layer. Then we're going to go to the second layer, and we're going to turn on the second layer, turn off the first layer. Now look at this as we switch back and forth. All right, now we got our animation going, don't we? Then we're going to go to our next layer. Same thing. Turn this one off. Our next frame, next layer. All right, next frame, turn the layer off, turn the next layer on. I'm showing you how to make frame by frame animations. You're welcome. Right over here, and then we'll do the last one, and then we'll go ahead and play it. Oh, it's got a long delay on it. Hold on. Let's turn all these delays off. I forgot to turn the delay off before I create a new frame. So we're going to set it to no delay, and we're gonna take over the power of time, everybody. We have control over time. First, we're going to do no delay. Here we go. Oh, I missed the wrong thing. There we go. So that's with no delay. So that's just kind of flashing, right? So maybe we want to control that time a little bit. Hold on. Let's say 0.5 seconds in between the frames. Now, we don't have enough frames, everybody. We should have at least 15 frames here if we want to make this feel like the smile is going, and we should have frames in between to do it, but I'm just giving you a general gist of it. All right, so this is 0.5 seconds. Feel the difference. Feel the difference? No delay and a little bit of delay. See how it gives it a totally different feel? It's not just flashing. It's now, oh, what is that? Oh, it's a smiley face. Oh, okay. Right, so you just created a cool little animation in there. Now, I'm making it look easy, everybody. I have 30 years, 40 years in computers and in background and graphics and whatnot. But I think you guys could follow along with that. Did you guys get that in the chat? Put a 1 in the chat and let me know if you got the general gist of that, right? We created different layers, and then we told it to play those layers in sequence by basically doing them one after another. And now you know. Now you could do it right now. Now remember, there's other programs other than Photoshop that you can do this in. There's free animation programs out there. You can just search for free frame-by-frame animations. You can open up GIF or Giphy or whatever the name of that file is. What is the name of that thing? Hold on. I got it on my desktop here. Hold on. Hold on. All the way in. What is the name of that program? It went right out of my head. I forgot what the name of it is. Not on my desktop. Not on my desktop, but you get the idea. So again, we can do advanced GIF animations, or we can do frame-by-frame animations, and even get really detailed to where you're doing, you know, one after another after another. And really, I love this right here. It's one of my favorite animations. I love the klaxon light. I don't know, I have an obsession with it. You might see it in the stream from time to time when sometimes I have a raid thing that comes down with a little thing, depending on the size of the raid and whatnot. Now, one of the things that I've been having trouble with on the stream, because I've upgraded my OBS, is my videos that come up, my clips that play, right? So a great example might be this clip right here, right? Let's listen in and see it. Watch what happens to me, everybody. Oh, wait, I don't have the sound on. Oh, I got to turn the sound on over here. Hold on. Let's do that again. Which convinced them to do what we wanted them to do. Holy moly! We're in the same shirt, too. I just realized. Right at the top of the stream, I'm wearing my same red shirt, my Kismet shirt. I didn't realize that till just now. I haven't been wearing it all this time. Just so you know, I do switch my shirts every single day. Now, right here, everybody, this particular file is a movie file, which is a QuickTime format, right? You might also know about H.262 and all of that is kind of video formats. We're not going to get too deep into that. But basically, this file is 50 megs, right? And you're like, well, what's 50 megs? Well, 50 megs is a lot for your OBS to handle, everybody. So if I wanted to play this clip in there, and this is a full-size clip, as you can see here, it's a 1920 by 1080 clip. It is way too much and unnecessary to play it at that size. And that's because we could play it just as easily in a smaller size, 1/5 the size, right over here. And let me know if you can see the difference. Here we go. Which convinced them to do what we wanted them to do. Holy moly! Right at the top of the stream. Can you see any difference? I'm just going to spoil the suspense, everybody. No, you can't. This is like the JPEG of video files. This is called WebM. Or web movie. That's what the M stands for. WebP. P stands for photo. I know. Wow. What a brilliant, deep, hard thing. Now, actually, if you wiki, and I've got the wikis ready here for WebM and for WebP, you can see who developed it. Of course, Google. And of course, it's been out since 2010, but it takes a long time for people to start to use those formats. It takes a long time for them to be in web browsers and be in different programs like in OBS. So in OBS, if you see some of my animations, let me show you a great example right over here from Blue Chronos. Yeah, this right here, WebM. And because it's so incredibly compressed, I can do full screen animation. Shh, don't tell anybody else. Now, we all know the secret why Kismet can do full screen animations and other people cannot, because they don't know that knowledge. They don't know that they could make it the big size alerts the same size as the small size alerts. And that is one of the things, if you learn just one thing in my stream, everybody, that WebM is the jam. So that is something we can do. We go in and we can compress our video down. How can we do that? Well, we can go into a video program like DaVinci Resolve. Now, this program is free, everybody. You can use it for editing and whatnot. Now, in here, you can see I've got a bunch of my highlights all in a row, right? So the program that I used to use to switch between the different clips, it would switch between different WebM clips and play them on stream. So I could play them in different sizes. If I was AFK, I could play them, or you'll see it in my little player in the very beginning. But since I've upgraded OBS, those plugins no longer work. So I said, you know what? Why have them all be individual? I could just go in and make one gigantic thing of a whole bunch of clips like this. These are all separate clips over here. By the way, let me move myself back over here. And of course, you can see I have a ton of clips in there. And I can take those different clips and make them into one gigantic movie. Now, in this case, if you're going to be doing that, and really it's just like a clip that somebody's watching really fast, doesn't have to be super high quality, I would go down to 720p, because it's just something somebody's going to be watching for 5 or 10 seconds, and it's going to be a lot smaller. Now, if you notice how long that is, everybody, that's 45 minutes. That's 45 minutes. Now, I don't think I've ever AFK'd for 45 minutes, but it's cool that it does do that, and the fact that I could let it run, or the thing that I would like it to do is to randomize them, right? And that randomizer kind of worked. It didn't work all that great. And instead of having the same one in the same sequence, but I feel it's fine. So what I can do is take them, make one gigantic movie, and compress it down, just like I did with the other one, right? This one here, again, 50 megs. And then the one over here is only 12, right? So about 1/5 the size. And so if it takes 1/5 the size, looks exactly the same, loads faster, less tedious for my computer to use, and less tedious for OBS or any other program that you're using, and no one can tell the difference, why not use that, right? Why not have it compressed down to a level which you can use? And you can also use WebP here in replacement of other formats like JPEG, PNG, and GIF files. And you guys can go look up the wiki. You can just go WebP wiki on Google and check it out, and learn more about those different formats and why WebP is taking over that. Now, of course, whenever you're using a format, you got to make sure that it is compatible with what you're doing, right? So if I'm going to make stuff, say in After Effects here, and I'm going to take this and put it on Twitter, right? I have to use the formats that Twitter understands and that your web browser will be able to see. So in this case, this is why I use GIF file for Twitter, right? Because I can put a GIF file on there. You guys are looking at Twitter. Oh, cool. What's this cool game that Kismet is talking about? Shadow Gambit. Cool. That looks like a cool one, right? I can put that up there, and very few people do that, everybody. You know why? Because it requires all the technical knowledge that I just downloaded to you. Now, you could do it as well. Of course, there's a lot of things to know about, different file formats like PNG, how to take your video and convert it over. But remember, there's a lot of free programs out there like DaVinci Resolve where you can convert those into different formats. So say you have a format that you want to take from there and convert it to another one, right? Like, great example. If I have this movie file and I want to convert that, I would go to something like DaVinci Resolve, or in this case, I could go to After Effects, right? Now, this is something I showed you before where I could take this and I can convert this into a GIF file. I could also convert it into a WebM file. So I can go up here to Composition, add to Media Queue. Now, I know some of this is advanced for some of you, but I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. I'm going to take this one out right there. And now I have a bunch of formats over here that I've set up. And basically, it's just settings, everybody. It's nothing too advanced, right? So say I want to output this with no sound, and match the current size, right? And I can just drag it up there. It's going to change the preferences. Basically, what it does, it changes all this information here, right? What the size is going to be. It's going to match the source, 1920 by 1080. It's going to make it square. It's going to be 30 frames per second versus 25 in GIF file, right? You have different types of codecs for WebM. You have VP8 and then the new format VP9, which does even better. Do I want a consistent quality? Do I want to drop when there's a lot of motion? All of that stuff, and I can adjust the quality level. I keep it at 50. It works just fine. And then I can just say, okay, and then make me that file, right? Shadow Gambit WebM. And so it'll go through and it will process the file. Now, again, I have a very nice computer, everybody. And the fact that this goes this fast, this is like 100 times faster than my other computer. My old Mac from like 12 years ago. Yes, it takes it like 20 minutes or 30 minutes to do this same file that you're watching live right now. This is not recorded, everybody. This is happening live right now. It's compressing that file. And this is where your 4090s come in. This is where your new graphic cards and all of that stuff come in. And that baby is done. That sucker is done. So that's going to go into the files here. Let me go ahead and pull the files back up. Over here, all right, into my Giphy files, right over here. Let's see if that's where it went. Oh, it went into here. It went into the footage. There we go. There we go. All right. Again, I don't want to get in trouble from my sponsors. I have so much stuff lined up. It's going to be so awesome. But right here, you can see that it made a WebM file. Now, this WebM file is about 3 kilobytes, everybody, or 3 kilobytes down here. This is 95 it's about 3,000 kilobytes. This is 95 kilobytes. If you don't know what that is, everybody, this one's 3 megabytes, right? So 3 megabytes versus about 1 megabyte, right? So, or really even less than 1 megabyte, but let's just make math easy for you guys' brain. So this is basically 3 times the size of this. And you're like, well, kids, it's only 3 megabytes. That's like nothing nowadays. That's true. That's true. But if you look at the quality, now, of course, to show the quality of this, I will need to double click on it and have it open. Oh, there's GIMP right there. There's GIMP. Have it open in the right program. Now, in this case, whenever you're looking at a WebM, you can't just play it typically in Media Player and whatnot. Like if I just say open it up in Media Player, it does on the PC. On the Mac, it does not. But look at the quality difference, right? So it's only 3 times the size. It's only 3 megabytes. But look at the quality. Look at how beautiful this is. Look how beautiful that is. If you don't remember the other one, everybody, I'll pull that one back up for you right over here in Photoshop. Let's just look at the difference. See the pixelization? Look at my guy over here. See all the stuff in the collar? See how it's reducing it? Because it can only use 256 colors because it's reducing the color palette and it's doing that. Look at that quality versus this other quality. I mean, that's night and day, everybody. It's night and day. and it's not that much bigger, just a couple megabytes bigger, and it's going to look a whole lot better. Now, the problem is, can I put that on Twitter? Well, in the past, no. I don't know, maybe now. Maybe now since they've updated a bunch of stuff. But again, it has to do with size, speed, and in this case, quality level, right? Size, speed, and quality level. You guys remember that. You guys remember that. Man, time goes by so fast, everybody. Goes by so fast. So basically, man, I actually got ahead of myself on that one. I was doing so good. Now, when it comes to that, again, you can do your own frame-by-frame animation like we did. Pretty fun. A little happy face. And again, we can get in there, and we could really get in there. Another thing that you could do is go into Illustrator and illustrate what you want, right? And draw it all out in Illustrator using the vector format, and then you can control the size. So if you want to do something big or small, it's in vector. So I can scale it up to any size. Great example. If I take the Twitch logo right here, and I make a copy of it by holding down the Alt key, I can make it bigger, right? I hold down Shift, so it's proportional too. So now I can make it really big, and it will still be of good quality. Now, if I put in Photoshop and became pixels and I try to make it bigger, what happens when you got a photo, right? You make a photo bigger, but when you zoom in on it, what's going to happen? Oh, look at them pixels coming in, right? Look at them pixels, everybody. Right over here, see? See, that's what's the difference between vector format and pixel format. You're like, Kismet, I don't understand what you're talking about. Well, guess what? I got a video, Graphic Design, it's all about vector and pixel format. So you go back and watch that one. It'll hook you up. It'll hook you up big time. And of course, my favorite, Control-Z for undo. There we go. And again, everybody, you can see how you can progress and basically draw out those things and then take it frame by frame and do it that way. Or I give you a whole bunch of different options, whether you do it in Photoshop, whether you do it in GIMP, whether you do it in After Effects, whether you do it in Premiere, or you do it in DaVinci Resolve. Now, I could do the same thing here in DaVinci Resolve, just like I'm doing with videos. I could do it also with pictures. And then what you do is you set your different outputs over here on the side, which you can see I've got over here. I have QuickTime H.264, which is the format of that. And then this right here is going to output at 1280 by 720. So it's going to be smaller quality-wise, and it's going to be 720 size, but you're only going to see it this big in a little tiny thing. In fact, I actually have multiple of them that I rendered. I rendered one which is full screen 720, and then one that's even smaller that fits in that little thing that starts up on my screen, so that every time you guys are watching my startup screen, you got like 5 minutes of clips you can watch in that little video. So, and again, because I can't use the plugin anymore, which rotated between my different web end clips before. But that's okay. I'll just leave it in there and let it run. That's pretty fun. You know what I should do? I just thought of another idea. See, I think of a lot of ideas. What I should do is have it randomizing different segments of clips. So I could have, say, 5 minutes of clips here, 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 and then it would rotate. Oh, look at that. Well, I just thought of something. See, you just saw a genius moment happen right live on stream. 5 minute rotating startup clip segments. And that's going to be even easier because it's not going to be a 45-minute thing. Now, see, I'm going to make the 45-minute thing, and then I can just go in 5 minutes and then cut it down, because then it's going to put these all into one file, and then I'll take that one file and cut that down into 5-minute increments, so I don't have to process the whole thing every time, right? You want to process it all once, so it's one big video, and then cut it up in the thing, or I could cut it up in here. I could just go in here to 5 minutes in. Zoom out a little bit. I could just go into 5 minutes in, which is right about here. Now, of course, I would cut it at the end of a clip. I wouldn't cut it in the middle of a clip. Like, oh, actually, pretty close right there, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. So I could go in and just take that part and just take all the rest of this out of here and just take that part, put it in a new timeline, and just output just that, and output next thing. That's exactly what I'm going to do, because I just thought of it. I thought, wait a minute, I could do that, and then if I have it, if I can find another rotator, it would rotate between those 5 minutes. So every time I started up the stream, it should, in theory, choose a different round of clips. So it would basically affect the variety of the clips, right? Because that's one of the biggest problems. I don't want it to just play the same clips every time I start up. I want it to rotate between those clips, which is why I had the rotator in the first place, but sadly, it no longer works. But there you go. There you go. Let me catch up on the chat and see if there's any questions so far. If you have some questions, feel free to go ahead. Your first PC had a tape drive. There you go. My first PC is as well. Yeah, one Kiwi. I had the Commodore 64, which had a cassette tape, and you put that in there, and you tell it to be run, or run it into memory, and you had to have it at the right point on the tape. And then I loaded up my snake bite, which is like a one of those little snakes that go along and it eats the apple, and then it gets longer and longer and longer. Yeah, that is from the early 90s, late 80s. Yeah, for a very long time ago, that game. If you ever see that game, you know where it came from. Snakebite, way back in the day. I actually met the guy who wrote the program Snakebite way back in the day. Yeah, because there was a very small community then, everybody. You knew everybody who wrote all these programs and wrote all these games and do all these things. I've run into a lot of people who've gone on to, write, gigantic games and things, and programs that people use every day. I've been very lucky to get started that far back. You ruined so many paperbacks. Yes, I am that way. I just about every single notebook I've ever had a little flip book in the corner. Had a little flip animation in the corner. Yeah, for sure. There you go. I thought it was 12 frames minimum is learning. Yes, it's around 15 frames. 12 frames, you can't get away with 12 frames, but 15 frames per second gives you what's known as the illusion of life, right? The illusion that it is going. Now, of course, in some cases, you don't need 15 frames, like I showed with the Pew Pew here, right? I don't need 15 frames. I only need the 4, right? And because this is what it's doing. Right? It doesn't need to be more than 4. It gives you the idea, and it's a thing that pops up on my stream and then goes away. I'm still reworking all of that, by the way, because the program that did that also doesn't work anymore. That's what happens when you upgrade, everybody, is all your plugins break. It's like upgrading your World of Warcraft, when they come out with an expansion or whatever, and then all your stuff breaks. All of your plugins and your mods and all that stuff breaks. Same thing in other games like Skyrim and Fallout and whatnot. It just breaks all your stuff. So then you got to spend all the time fixing that problem and going through it. So I'm always doing that all the time. That's what I'm doing constantly, just like fixing this problem, fixing that problem, adding this, adding that as well. And you can see I write stuff down all the time. And then I just go through it just like a task. Okay, I'm going to fix this today. I'm going to fix that today. I'm going to fix this. Oh, wait, I got to stream. Let's stream first. Talk all about graphic design. Okay, after stream, then we'll go back to fixing some of those things. That's pretty much what I do. And I love doing it, everybody. That's what I live to do, because then it just makes the stream better. It makes this the best stream ever. And that's what the BSE stands for, everybody, if you ever see that in my stream title. BSE stands for Best Stream Ever. What best stream ever are we on? We're getting up there, everybody. Thousands and thousands of them I've done. Let's see. We're on Best Stream Ever number 2137. By the way, I started at number 1. So that's 2,137 times we tried to make the stream better. And hopefully you learn a little bit about GIF files, you learn a little bit about WebP, which is photo format, and a little bit about WebM, and you can make your stream better or make your graphics better in the future. And that's pretty much why I do these little graphic design things. And I usually do them for an hour or two just to give you guys a little bit of an overview. Now, since this is the last one in this particular series, I'm going to go ahead and open up to any questions in the stream. If you guys have some questions, thoughts, ideas, if you have some struggle points in graphic design, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, we're going to go and head on out and then basically get ready for some eco later tonight at 10 p.m. I'm super excited about that, everybody. You guys should definitely come and join us. Remember, I'm going to be giving away a couple copies of eco tonight, so maybe you can win it and then come and join us as well. Now, if you do want to join us, I am going to require everybody to go over to the Discord and let us know what you want to do, or let us know that you don't know what you want to do, but either way, so I know who's going to be joining us on the server. And then basically everybody can know what everybody's kind of thinking of what they're going to work on, so we can coordinate and collaborate as a team, which is my favorite thing to do as well. That's still the wrong retweet. It leads to the schedule. Did I grab the wrong one? Hold on. Let me try. Let me go over here and double check. I might have copy pasted the wrong one. There you go. Let's try it again. Sometimes it gets broken. Sometimes it goes off the rails, just like I was telling you. Again, don't blame me, bro. I go in every single stream. I post that tweet, and then I have to copy the link, put it into my stream elements, so that whenever time I go Command RT, it puts in the right link for you. I used to have it where it automated but the people who automated it before went pay only. So now it doesn't automatically work anymore. So it doesn't take my latest tweet and put the link in there for me automatically. I have to do it manually. And again, that's a lot of work I do behind the scenes for you guys. Of course, you could always just go to twitter.com/KismetBP, scroll down, look for the latest post, click the retweet button and the like button. That's super easy there. If you just go over there and follow me over there, you also get notified when I do tweet stuff over there. I do love to tweet stuff when I go live. I tweet stuff like giveaways and other things like that. Things that I find around the internet as well. I'll put that on there. I'll retweet that stuff. Like great example, we just retweeted the Fallout for Hope, where all you St. Jude's heroes out there helped us raise $3,000 this year for St. Jude Children's Hospital. And of course, that brings us up to a grand total. I think we're at $20,000 that we've raised for St. Jude's over the last 3 years. I mean, that gives me goosebumps, everybody. That's amazing. I find that incredible for my stream. I got, 50, 200, sometimes as much as 200 people. But $20,000, that's going to make such a huge effect on a kid's life, everybody. They're going to get their chemotherapy, they're going to get their treatments that they need, and they're not going to spend their childhood in the, oh my God, it makes me emotional. They're not going to have to spend their childhood in the hospital. They're going to get to go out and be a kid again, right? Instead of having these big problems they have to worry about every single day. That's a tough thing to put on a child. That's a tough thing to put on an adult, but on a child, they just came into this world, everybody. They're still trying to get their footing in the world. And I feel like you don't really even got a footing or even have that much going on until you're about 25. That's when it starts kicking in, where you're like, wait a minute, it's all me, bro. It's all me. I gotta know how to do my stuff and come up into my own, right? At about 25, everybody, I was making the most money I ever made in my lifetime doing this right here, graphic design. Graphic designs, I was working for places where they had $10, $20 million worth of equipment. They're just like, Kismet, here you go, bro. Play yard. Go for it. And I don't see, in the moment, I didn't realize how lucky I was. You know how many other hundreds of thousands of designers out there would have loved to do what I did? And I had such a huge passion for it. I was relentless in my passion, everybody. I wanted to know everything. I wanted to know all the different types of design. I wanted to know different types of paper. I wanted to know what font this was. I wanted to be able to look at the font and know what it is right away. That's a hard one, everybody. You got to memorize tons and tons of font. I want to know about Pantone colors. I want to know about a thing called trapping, where when the colors move on the press, you try to eliminate that little white line you see sometimes. That means they didn't do good trapping. If you see that white line between colors, they didn't do a good job of trapping that. As well. And we can get way deep into that old school printing stuff. But really what you need to know is you need to know formats. You need to know how to shrink it down as small as you can, because that's going to bring you your size. And that's really the theme of this particular stream, is understanding that across all the different programs. And I showed you illustration programs. I showed you photo programs. I showed you animation programs and video programs. And a lot of those programs you can get totally for free. Like you just go onto the Google and say, boom, I want to, Photoshop like program free. And you'll probably get GIMP, After Effects like program free. Now, of course, if you do become a professional in it, you want to use professional tools, right? Just like when you get to a certain level, you would use, if you're drawing or whatnot, you'd use better pencils and pens and brushes and things of that nature as an artist, right? You want to upgrade your equipment to be used. Now, for me, I got all different type of equipment. I got myself an iPhone, but that doesn't mean I'm against Android. I don't care. It's just a phone to me, and it does the thing that I want it to do. If you have Android phone and it does the thing you want to do, awesome. Me, I've got PC so I can do graphics and all this stuff, but also so I can do gaming. Now, you're like, well, Kismet, I like to game on my Mac. Go right ahead. It doesn't bother me at all. I like to game on my Xbox. I like to game on my PlayStation. I like to game on my Switch or on my phone. I like to do mobile games or do cloud-based gaming, like the awesome, by the way, Amazon Luna, which I really like. Big love to them, which is a web-based game. I love playing 2 Point Hospital on there. I can play it right on my phone. There's like a whole controller that you put in there, and you put your phone there. You can play it in the bed or on your couch or whatever. Very, very cool. Check out Luna, everybody. Not a sponsored event at all from them, but very, very cool. So I don't care what game you play on. I don't care what system you're on. I don't care what kind of pencils you use. I don't care what kind of brush you use. The whole important thing is that we're gamers or we're artists or we're gamers who are artists or artists who are gamers, right? That's what the really important thing is, everybody. The tool should be irrelevant. And that's why I'm not in here going, well, here in Illustrator, this is what this tool does, and this is what this tool does. That's irrelevant. The program should be irrelevant, or the platform should be irrelevant. The concepts is the thing that everybody misses. I see so many people teaching graphic design. They don't teach the concepts, everybody. That's the most important thing. Why you're doing it, right? You ever take a math class? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever took a math class and you had no idea why you needed that math class. Put a 1 in the chat. I want to see how many people in school, they took a class and they took this class and they're like, why am I learning this? What is it? How is it going to help me, right? Why am I learning algebra and trigonometry? What does trigonometry do? What is it for? Why do I need to know trigonometry? Now, me, as a kid, I wanted to know why. Why am I learning this? And I would ask people, why am I learning trigonometry? You know what trigonometry does? It helps you do distances, like to other stars and other planets, and how to distance the whole entire Earth. You ever see that they're doing triangles when they're doing measurements on the Earth? That's what that's for. Trigonometry does distances. There you go. And it does a bunch of other stuff too. But that's a reason to know that thing if you're going to use that. Why would you use geometry? Well, if you're going to do some 3D animation, you're going to need to know some geometry, bro. You're going to need to know right angles. You're going to need to know squares and circles. And then, of course, in 3D, it would be a sphere. It would be a cylinder. It would be all those things. Those have a purpose if you know what they're for. So I would rather tell you what it's for and what it's used for and give you the concept, the high-end version of the concept, and then the tools, you can learn all of that. And there's a thousand different people out there who are going to tell you what the move tool does and the pin tool and all of that stuff. That's easy to learn, I think. I think the knowing what to do and how to do it is the most important part, of learning anything. So again, that's, you know, the reasons why I do this, and that's to show off the game a little bit, right? And why do I do it in GIF format? That's because the Twitter will allow me to put it there. If I could do it in WebM format, well, then I would do it in that. But there's more people who could see it in GIF format than who could see it in WebM, right? Now, if I'm doing it on the stream, and you guys are just going to be watching my stream through Twitch or through YouTube or Kick or Facebook or Live Space, which I'm all streaming to at the same time, by the way, if you are watching it on stream, it doesn't matter what the format is. It only matters how optimized it is when it plays. So when I play, one of you guys coming in showing some love, let's see who else we got here. JC Hutter, let's go. When I'm playing these alerts like this, oh, come on. Or not. I must have missed it. Let's try it again. Come on, JC Hutter, let's go. I love it when my alerts just like give out right the moment in which I'm trying to accentuate a point. Come on, something. Really? Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah, there it goes. We'll do Los Duermo. So when this is playing on stream, it doesn't matter what the format is because you guys are watching it live, and what it's doing is it's taking all of those different elements that I'm using right now. I'm using my gaming PC and capturing it through my Elgato capture card. I'm using that graphic, which is through Stream Elements, which I made, turned into a WebM. Actually, it's a smaller graphic, by the way. It's a 720 and not a 1920 by 1080. And then I put it over there, and they actually, more than anybody else, they gave me gigabytes of size over there so I could test all of this stuff and learn all this stuff. And no one told me how to do this, by the way. I learned this by hundreds of hours of testing, right? How does this work? How small does this is? How much does this take? Can I do this on stream? Is it laggy? Does it look good? All of those things again and again and again. And now I've told you all my secrets, so you can go do it on your stream if you want. It's up to you. Your dad was a math teacher? Ah, there you go. What the heck? I didn't reply to anything. What does that mean? So he was counting on you to do a good math class. Yes, yeah, I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was. That's some pressure right there. You come home and you're like, I have no idea what the heck they're talking about. But then, of course, you can ask your dad. I helped my daughter, by the way. One of the things that my daughter told me one day, she came home from elementary school, and she said, my teacher said I couldn't ask questions. And I said, oh, really? Oh, really? And I said, that's the reason why you're there. You're there to ask questions and to learn. And if you can't ask questions, then that's not right. So I went and I talked to that teacher and I said, this is what my daughter has told me, that you said she can't ask questions. And I said, no, that's what she's here to do. She's here to learn. And my daughter is super smart, everybody. And if I had not done that, everybody, if I had not made that little bit of intervention, she would have not felt comfortable asking questions. So then on, she asks questions all the time. How do I do this? How that? And that teacher saw me coming. They're like, oh, God, oh. I said, no. My daughter's here to learn, and she's going to, she's going to be able to ask questions when she doesn't know. Because you know how many people in school go through, and I grew up in that age, everybody. They're just embarrassed to ask. They're embarrassed to not know the answer. And they don't realize that the whole reason they're there is because they don't know. If they did know, they wouldn't need to go to school, right? I know, it's logic. I know, it's crazy. But in my day, they gave you a workshop, a little worksheet. You filled out the worksheet. The teacher wasn't even there. They would go off and do something. I don't know what the heck they were doing back in those days. Or they show you a video or whatever. But you weren't like supposed to ask questions. You weren't supposed to challenge what they were saying or whatnot and say, well, what am I doing trigonometry for? And if you did ask that question, which I have asked, they'd say, well, it's something you're going to need. No, what is it for? What is it used for? Who's using it? What kind of engineer is using trigonometry? Who's using geometry? What does this stuff mean, right? What's it for? And of course, sometimes you have good teachers, which I had occasionally, especially math teachers, who would say, oh, it's for measuring space. Trigonometry is how you measure distances. They do it all the time. You got this far at this distance and this line, boom, that's how they measure distances. Geometry is used in 3D animation. It's used in construction. It's used in all sorts of things, right? That's important to know your sizes and squares, and especially as a graphic designer, to do your shapes, right? Because I'm creating shapes all the time. Right now, you can see I got a rectangle in this one right here. This is a rectangle. Won't rectangle. Over there, rectangle, but turn the other way, right? The long rectangle this way. Rectangles, circles, squares, rounded squares, angled squares, all sorts of stuff, man. You're using shapes all day, every day. And proximity of shapes, how close something is. Is this too close? Is this too far? Is this too close? Oh, that's pretty close, right? So that proximity of shapes as well. And you want to know more about that? I do have another video on graphic design where I talk about proximity and shapes and colors and all of that stuff. So pretty cool. So there we go. Your message should have shown I replied to someone else is all. Oh, okay. I did see your message there, K-Man Mox. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, everybody. So again, if no one has any questions on it, that's pretty much going to finish up our graphic design basics. This is round 3. And that should have told you a whole lot of things, a lot of my secrets behind the scenes of how I do my advanced stuff that I do. And once you know the secrets of anything, right, everybody is like, like 1 + 1 = 2 is obvious to us now. But if you're a 2-year-old, it's not so obvious. And that's why I always approach stuff when I'm showing other people stuff and teaching other people things, is that I approach it in a way that I know that it's not obvious to people who haven't been doing it a long time, right? Like me, it's like breathing, everybody. I could do design layouts like this without even thinking about it. I just, no, okay, what do I want to do this time? I do them long ways this time. I'm going to put all the things here. Sometimes I only put the 3 p.m. one time, and sometimes I put it on every single one because some people still will ask me, Kismet, this one doesn't say what time it is. Even though I put the 3 p.m. at the top, the 10 p.m. at the top. You know how it goes, everybody. You have to sometimes design for the lowest common denominator. This stuff is just second nature to me because I've been doing it so long. I've put hundreds of thousands, and I could be millions at this point, of hours into learning these things. And I just jumped you forward about 1,000 hours. So you don't have to figure all that stuff from scratch. You can just go ahead and do it. Now, of course, I have a background in it, so that background does translate to the next thing I'm going to learn and to the next thing I'm going to learn. And hopefully the stuff you learn here, you go on and you do something even more amazing with it as well. And you learn something new on top of this, so it's your knowledge just stacks, right? So you have your base knowledge, and then you learn this thing, and then you're stacking your knowledge every day out of your life. If you want to be a designer or if you want to be an artist or whatever it is you want to do, you want to keep stacking that knowledge because it makes you level up in real life. And that's what I do every single day. There you go. Yes. There's actually a really good example of thinking beyond that 1 + 1 box. I think it's Patch Adams is the name of that movie with Robin Williams, where the guy says, how many fingers am I holding up? And he goes around and he says that to everybody. He's in a crazy asylum, by the way. And he's going around and he's doing that to everybody, but he sees it and he basically tunes out his eyes, or he unfocuses his eyes, and he sees 8 fingers instead of just 4, which means you can see beyond the simple. You can see beyond the normal that everybody else is seeing. Now, he obviously knows that he's already asked this question 1,000 times, so the obvious answer is not the answer that the person is looking for most of the time. So great movie, by the way, too. Patch Adams. Really fantastic movie. Fantastic movie in thinking beyond the simple. Thinking beyond what everybody else is doing. I'd see, like everybody else, they just do a single GIF. For me, I would, put in my stuff and do the thing and animate it, get a little clip, put the thing in there. And it's a lot of effort for one stream and one GIF for one stream. But that's what I love to do. I love to do beyond what everybody else is doing. Do it my own way. Even if it does take more effort, it is more enjoyable for me. And I think it comes out looking way better. So there you go. So when you see more of those, now you know how they're done. All right, so I think that's probably good, everybody. That was a good stream. We got a lot of great info packed in there in one. I think it's time to get on the Kismet Love train, and then we're going to be back later. Let's go. All right, everybody, Kismet Love Train time. Let's go see if we can find somebody in the art category today. Let's go see who we can find right over here and show some love to the artists here on Twitch. I feel like they do not get enough love, everybody. That is for sure. I'm going to see if there's anybody in here that I actually know. Oh, Bob Ross. It warms my heart that Bob Ross has more viewers than just about anybody on Twitch. I love Bob Ross as a kid, everybody. Bob Ross was in reruns when I was a kid. So he came out way earlier. Before I became an artist and whatnot. And I actually never painted any of those Bob Ross things ever, but I loved him. He is what makes that great, right? It's not just always what you're doing, but it's how you're presenting it and how the presenter is. So keep that in mind when you're doing stuff like streaming and things like that. Remember, your job is to entertain or educate or whatever you want to do in your stream as well. So who do we got in here who is doing some cool stuff? I don't know. Oh, I wonder if my buddy's on here. If he's doing some emotes. Let's see. Oh, he is. He is. All right, let's see what he's doing right now. Oh, he's playing some games. All right, I'll show him some love anyway. He's playing some Quantum Break right now. That's funny that artist playing games. I know, right? Okay, this is a great guy, everybody. He's actually done some of my emotes for me in the past, and incredibly fantastic artist. I'm going to go ahead and grab him over here real quick. Now, while I'm waiting, everybody, I want you guys to go ahead and grab that Kismet Love Train based on whether you're a viewer or a subscriber of different level. Highlight it, copy it, put it into my chat while I'm getting this ready, because it does take me a minute here to get all of this stuff up and running. There's so many buttons to press at the same time over here. There we go. Over here. Come on. Search thing. Not bring it up in the search. Okay. I know he's over here. Love how I go to another machine and then it just makes it like 10 times harder to find it. All right, let's start. Let's go show them some love. Again, I love to show artists love on the stream as well, but it's funny irony that he's actually playing games right now. But that's okay. You guys go over there and show that follow button love. Okay, here we go. We're going to get YugCon ready to go here, everybody. Let me go ahead and get my stream ready to go as well. Right over there, so I can put in that raid info. There we go. See, this is why sometimes I don't rate it, because it's just like a giant undertaking. But I've rated thousands and thousands of people over the years. But in my stream, because it's so complex, it does take a little bit. Now, of course, thanks to all these awesome people who have got on the Kismet Love Train, which for some reason is not showing. Thanks for the follows, by the way. I don't think my follows show up anymore. Thanks down there as well to all my awesome patrons. So that's the best way to support the Kismet Love Train over on patreon.com/Kismet. That is the greatest way because the bulk of your support goes right back into the Kismet Love Train. 95% of it goes right back into the stream. 5% goes to PayPal fees. 0 of it goes to me. All of it goes back into the stream. As opposed to here on Twitch, where Twitch takes half of it. Really makes it difficult as a creator to keep going, especially when you're a smaller creator as well. And I've seen a lot of people stop doing streaming because of that disparity. I think it should definitely be 70-30 for sure. And I told them to just let everybody have 70-30 like all the other platforms which do that because that's really taking advantage. Like the movie business or like the music business where they take like 70% and they give 30% to the artist or 15% to the artist, or say you're getting 70%, but then your other representative is getting the other 50%, so you end up with 30%. Yeah, that's rough, everybody. That's rough when they take the bulk and they are not doing squat. They're not doing squat and they take the bulk of your cash. For sure. All right, so we're going to go show some love to, I forgot to put his target name up here. Right here, Young Khan is his name. Fantastic artist. He actually worked on some of my stuff over here. Some of my emotes originally. Oh, and that's the second he went AFK, everybody. We'll wait for him to come back first. Apparently, we're just going to dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. I am so good with my timing, everybody. My timing of him going AFK. All right, well, we can get some stuff ready. We can see how you guys are doing in the chat. Now, I expect some people to participate here, everybody, in this raid. Now, you go ahead and put that Kismet Love Train in there. You can make your own Love Train, or you can just copy-paste it in there just like Caveman Mox did as well. And I'm going to get this raid ready, so when he comes back, we'll go ahead and raid him here. There he is. He's back. All right, here we go. Let's start up this raid. Now, what I want you to do, everybody, is I want you to take that Kismet Love Train. I want you to put it one time in the chat. Then I want you to hit that follow button and show him some love. Show him that the Kismet Love Train is coming into his stream and thanking him so much for being such an awesome artist. And he's also playing some games. So you guys can check out the Quantum Break, which actually is a pretty cool looking game as well. So we're going to get that going. We're going to roll out the Kismet Love Train. First, we're going to shower you guys with a bunch of Kiss Caps. There you go for future giveaways. As well, thank you so much for being here for this bonus stream about graphic design. Again, remember, all these VODs are available over on my YouTube, as well as past ones are rolling out every single day. So feel free to go ahead and check them over. If you missed any of this, you can also see my VODs on Twitch and elsewhere as well. You get the idea. So we're going to go show some love. We're rolling out the Kismet Love Train. Again, I'll see you guys later tonight, 10 p.m. for some eco. It's going to be super fun. See you then.
Hi, this is Norbert. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. We'll see you all next time. Bye.